Table saws. Their uses are many, but so are their hazards. If you use table saws incorrectly, you risk injuries including cut hands and arms, severed fingers, electrical shock, blindness, and even death. Today, we're going to introduce you to training guidelines that focus on the operation and use of table saws. By following these guidelines, you will help ensure your safety when using table saws, whether at home or on the job. A tool is only as safe as the worker who uses it. When you use a tool, you alone control the risk factor. When using a table saw or any power tool, start by making sure your work environment is safe. Set the saw at a comfortable height. Most operators prefer a height of 34 to 36 inches. Be sure the saw does not rock and has been leveled properly. When possible, it is good practice to anchor the saw to the floor. Be sure a grounded outlet of the correct amperage is close by. This outlet should be below the saw so the cord does not interfere with stock being cut. Adequate lighting makes operation of the saw much safer. Shadows and dim lighting increase operator fatigue and measurement errors. The area surrounding the saw should be ample enough to handle large pieces of stock. Traffic should be routed away from the back of the saw. Keep the floor around the saw free of cutoffs and debris, which could cause a slipping or tripping hazard. When using a table saw, wear appropriate personal protective equipment. Always wear protective glasses when you operate the table saw. If the area is noisy, wear earplugs or muffs to preserve your hearing and minimize fatigue. Gloves are all right for handling rough lumber, but never wear gloves when operating the table saw. Your hand could easily be pulled into the blade if the blade catches the glove or other loose clothing. When using a fine-tooth blade, wear a dust mask to protect your lungs. Know your saw. Make sure you understand its uses and its limitations. All tools have limitations, and using tools safely means recognizing and respecting those limitations. Never use a cutting tool larger or heavier than the machine is designed to accommodate, or operate a cutting tool at greater speed than recommended. When choosing blades, make sure the RPM rating of the blade is equal to or higher than the RPM rating of the saw, usually marked on its nameplate. Do not use a dull, gummy, bent, or cracked cutting tool. Keep tools sharp and clean for best and safest performance. Using a dull blade increases the chance of kickback or climbing. Dull blades also require more cutting force, which could throw the operator off balance. Remove dull, badly set, or improperly filed blades from service. If gum has adhered to the sides of the blade, clean the blade immediately. Use only accessories designed for the machine. Accessories can make machines more versatile, safer, and easier to use. However, the use of improper accessories may cause hazards. Consult the owner's manual for recommended accessories. Inspect your stock. Before sawing any stock, inspect it for nails, staples, knots, and severe warps. Loose knots can be ejected by the saw blade. Rough, warped, or wet lumber can cause kickbacks. Small pieces can also mean trouble. Machining them puts your hands too close to the blade. Make sure the stock is large enough to be machined safely. Adjust the machine for minimum exposure of the cutting tool necessary to perform the operation. Adjust the blade height to keep the blade low. Set the blade height no more than 1/4 of an inch above the stock being cut. This minimizes your chances of contact with the blade and reduces kickback hazards. Before turning power on, remove tools and debris from the work surface. These could be violently thrown from the machine on startup, causing serious injury to the operator or a nearby worker. Be positive that anti-kickback devices are positioned properly. A kickback occurs when a piece of stock is forced toward the operator at great speed. Kickback is a major cause of table saw accidents. By using a guard with a spreader and anti-kickback pawls, you minimize the chance of kickbacks. When making rip cuts, adjust the spreader so that it is on the same plane with the blade. Most manuals recommend that you align the spreader with the blade by sight. Make sure that the anti-kickback pawls are riding on the wood. Keep in mind that spreaders can become loose during operation. Always check the spreader to be sure it is locked securely in place. Also, check the position of spreaders and pawls whenever you adjust the guard or blade height, or whenever changing blades. Position yourself correctly. Stand to the side of your work to be clear of any stock that kicks back. Be sure you have firm footing and balance. Avoid overreaching and reaching over the blade. Keep hands well away from saw blades and other cutting tools. Keep your hands at least 6 inches from the blade to allow for error. When your hands are a safe distance from the blade, there is always time to react to a hazardous situation. Use push sticks to feed stock into a bit or blade. By using push sticks, you keep your hands well away from the blade, in a safe position, yet you still maintain complete control of the stock. Guard against accidental starting. When making adjustments to the table saw, do so with the power off. Unplug the machine or lock the disconnect switch in the off position. When servicing a machine, isolate it from its energy source and follow lockout, tagout procedures. Notify all affected employees that the machine must be shut down. Table saws have many uses, but they also have many hazards. By learning and following the recommended training guidelines, you will help ensure your safety when operating table saws. This is James Drury, reminding you to take care and be safe.